Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining yesterday when I read Chapter 4 of the book live and giving me some of your summary sentences and suggesting some words that you didn't know that I could explain. I'm going to go through Chapter 5 today, and I'll show you each page as I read them today, so that if you want to, you can pause the screen, you can have a go at reading it yourself, and you can look up any language that you don't know at home. So I'll show it to the camera first, and then I'll start reading each page. We are starting Chapter 5 today. Chapter 5. What Max had not bargained for when the bunch of people moved off at the peeping of the little green man was that another bunch would be coming towards him from the other side of the street, so that when he was about halfway across, hurrying along at the heels of one crowd, he was suddenly confronted by another. He dodged about in a forest of legs. Isn't that a great way of putting it there? He dodged about in a forest of legs, saying they're a forest, a metaphor. Brilliant. In great danger of being stepped on. No one seemed to notice his small shape, and indeed he was kicked by a large foot and rolled backwards. Again, I'll show you the pages. Picking himself up, he looked across and found, to his horror, that the green man was gone and the red man had reappeared. Frantically, Max ran on as the traffic began to move and reached the far side, inches in front of a great wheel that almost brushed his backside. The shock of so narrow an escape made him roll up, and hedgehogs do that. To defend themselves, they roll up into a ball. And for some time he lay in the gutter, whilst above his head the humans stepped onto or off the pavement, and the noisy green man and the silent red man lit up in turn. After a while, there seemed to be fewer people about, and Max uncurled and climbed over the curb. I'll show you the pages again. Can't see them absolutely clearly here. Let me just... There's that page. And that page there. If you want to try reading it for yourself, I'm not sure how clear the words will come up with this camera. He turned right and set off in the direction of home. How to recross the street was something he had not yet worked out. But in his experience, neither striped bits nor red and green men were the answer. As usual, he kept close to the wall at the inner edge of the pavement, a wall that presently gave place to iron railings. These were wide enough apart for even the largest hedgehog to pass between. Max slipped through. In the light of the full moon, he could see before him a wide stretch of grass, and he ran across it until the noise and stink of the traffic were left behind. Where am I? Said Max, looking round him. His nose told him of the scent of flowers in the ornamental gardens. His eyes told him of a strange-shaped building, the bandstand. And his ears told him of the sound of splashing water as the fountain spouted endlessly in the lily pond. Of course, this was the place that Pa had told them all about. This was the park. Hip, hip, hooray! Oh, sorry, he said it backwards a little bit. Hip, hip, hooray, he says, cried Max to the moon, and away he ran. For the next few hours, he trotted busily about the park, shoving his snout into everything. Like most children, he was not only nosy, but noisy too. And at the sound of his coming, the mice scuttled under the bandstand. The snakes slid away through the ornamental gardens, and the frogs plopped into the safe depths of the lily pond. Max. Sorry, the video cut off there. I'll carry on from where I was and just kind of put those videos together in the editor. Max caught nothing. The next 2 pages are just a picture of the park. What can you see in the park? Do you think you can identify the bandstand? What do you think the bandstand is for? What about the lily pond? Can you see that anywhere? Where do you think that is? And I'll show you the pages again. Not sure how clearly this will come up. At last he began to feel rather tired and to think how nice it would be to go home to bed. But which way was home? Max considered this and came to the unhappy conclusion that he was lost. Just then he saw, not far away, a hedgehog crossing the path. A large hedgehog. A paw-sized hedgehog. What luck! Pa had crossed the street to find him. He ran forward, but when he reached the animal, he found it was a complete stranger. "Oh," said Max, I beg your pardon. I thought you were a different Hodgeheg." The stranger looked curiously at him. "You feeling all right?" he said. "Yes, thanks," said Max. "Trouble is, I go to want home, but I won't know the day." He wants to go home and he doesn't know the way. "You mean you don't know the way?" "Yes." "Well, where do you live?" asked the strange hedgehog. The last little bit of chapter 5 here, if you can see it. Not sure how clearly it is coming up. Oh, sorry, I've accidentally turned too many pages. "Where do you live?" asked the strange hedgehog. I missed 2 pages out. So there's this one, if you can pause it and if you can see. And there's this one, and I'll slowly move it up. Hopefully that'll help you with seeing the words. Number 5A. Indeed. Well now, listen carefully, young fella. Go up this path. It will take you back to the street, and a little way along you'll see a strange sort of house that humans use. It's a tall house, just big enough for one human to stand up in, and it has windows on 3 sides, and it's bright red. If you cross there, you'll fetch up right by your own front gate, okay?" "K.O.," said Max, "and thanks." As soon as he was through the park railings, he saw the tall red house. He trotted up close to it. It was lit up, and sure enough, there was a human inside it. He was holding something to his ear, and Max could see that his lips were moving. What do you think that tall red building is? I don't think it's a house. How odd, thought Max, moving very close now. He's standing in there talking to himself. I don't think he's talking to himself either. At that instant, the man put down the receiver and pushed open the door of the telephone booth. A door designed to clear the pavement by about an inch. The perfect height for giving an inquisitive young hedgehog. For the second time in his short life, a tremendous bang to the head. Oh no, he's bumped his head again. He's bumped his head again. What do you think might happen this time after he's bumped his head? I guess we'll find out in chapter 6 next time. And we're going to pause it there. So, as usual, but this time you can see the pages, hopefully, as long as they've come out okay, you can see the pages and read a bit for yourself. But as usual, Any words you don't know, look them up, talk to your family, try and understand them. Keep notes, what's happened in that chapter, and put it with the rest of your notes. Keep them safe now because we're not going to be reading this again until after the holiday. But, as ever, happy learning and happy holidays.